Hello everyone, welcome to Fun and Affordable Magic the Gathering. I'm Joshua Jones here with you for another small talk video. And on today's video, I want to talk about unstable contraptions. So real quick, in case you don't know, unstable comes with this little mechanic as part of the set called Contraptions. And anytime you play a card that ETBs or you meet some kind of conditions, you can assemble a contraption. And when you do, you have this little side deck of contraptions. And the sprocket's always going to start on 3. When you assemble contraption, you could put it on 1, 2, or 3 sprocket, whichever one you want. And on your upkeep, if you have a contraption out, you get to move the sprocket to the next number in sequence, going starting from 3 and going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then if there's contraption or multiple contraptions on that sprocket, when you put it there on your upkeep, you trigger each of those abilities. You just do what they say, and that's what contraptions do. So I want to talk about what we can do with the contraptions once Unstable's done, and then how to get the most out of your contraptions, because you're going to get 2 contraptions per pack that you open, so there's plenty of opportunity to have a bunch of these contraptions laying around, and they're also not that expensive to just get on your own if you want to, and they can provide some great variants to your gameplay. So there's 5 different factions in the stable. So first, let's take a look at each of the factions contraptions, and each faction is going to come with 9. First up, we have Goblin Explosioneers contraptions. We have Turbo Thwacking Auto Hammer, which is going to give you double strike for a creature. We have Thud for Duds, which is going to allow you to deal damage to a target creature equal to the difference between some die rolls. Then we have Gift Horse, which is another die roll one that gives you 1/1 goblins. Then we have Buzz Buggy, which is going to give 1 creature +2/+0 and trample. Hard Hat Area, which is going to allow you to roll some more dice and then assemble contraptions based on that outcome. Headbanger, which is going to make it so target creature must be blocked this turn. Then Goblin Slingshot, which gives all the creatures you control +2/+0 and trample until end of turn. Then Boomflinger, where you get to roll the dice and deal damage to the player. Then we have Targeting Rocket, which allows you to have target creature be blocked this turn if able. Moving on to Agent of Sneak, we have Dispatch Dispensary, which gives you a 2/2 menace creature. Then we have Farrier, which gives you 2 1/1 flyers that if they deal damage, you get to draw a card, and you have to exile them at the end of turn. Twiddle Stick Charger lets you tap or untap target creature. Then we have Swirly Disc, which target player puts the top X cards of his or her library into their graveyard, where X is the number of creatures you control. Top Secret Tunnel, which makes it so target creature can't be blocked this turn. Dictation Qualograph, which says whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may loot. Then we have Insufferable Siphon, which says that target player discards a card. Deadly Poison Sampler, which says whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy target creature that player controls. Accessories to Murder, which is going to allow you to get +X/+0, where X is the number of creatures you control. Then moving on to the Crossbreed Labs contraptions, we have Arms Depot, which is put 2 1/1 counters on target creature. Inflation Station, which gives a +3/+3 boost for 1 turn. Quick Stick Lick Trick, which gives you +1/+1 and lifelink. Refibrillator, which gives target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Oaken Power Suit, which is going to give you +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Dog Snell Engine, which is going to give target player gain in life equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. BB Gun, which is going to give you 1 target creature, pay 2 mana, fight another target creature. Genetic Recombinator, which is going to give you a +2/+2 boost to up to 2 creatures. Sap Sucker, which is going to allow you to get green to your mana pool, and it doesn't empty as phases do and steps do. Then we're moving on to League of Disasterly Doom contraptions, which is mandatory friendship shackles. It gives a -1/-1 to a target creature. Sunring Folk, which destroys target artifact. Guest List, where it gives you -X/-X, where X is the creatures in the graveyard. Jamming Device, which is going to give -1/-1 to a creature that a player controls. Dual Doom Suit, which is going to allow you to double up the damage the next time a source would deal damage. neural network, which is going to gain control of target creature, basically threaten until end of turn. Lackey Recycler, which is going to put target creature card from graveyard on top of your library. Division Table, which is going to have target player lose 2 life. Pet Project, which is going to have target opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control for a creature. Moving on to Order of the Widget, we have Auto Key, which is going to allow you to have target creature become an artifact as well as tap to gain 3 life. Duplicate Device, which is going to allow you to become a copy of a target creature on the battlefield, except for it's going to become an artifact as well. Treadmill, which is going to allow you to get a +1/+2 vigilance boost to a creature and it becomes an artifact. Applied Aeronautics, which is going to give you a +1/+0 and flying boost and becomes an artifact. Widget Contraption, which is going to allow you to assemble a contraption. Gnome Ball Machine, which is going to allow you to create 2 1/1 gnome artifact creatures. And Rapid Prototype, which is going to allow you to get XX colorless construct, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Record Store, which is going to allow you to do the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Put 1 in your hand and the rest on the bottom of the library. Then Optical Optimizer, which is going to allow you to have a creature become an artifact and tap to draw a card. And those are all of our contraptions for Unstable. Now, how do we get the most out of these contraptions once you're done drafting and Unstable's through? Well, honestly, the best thing for you to do and the most fun, also affordable thing for you to do is to include contraptions in your current variants of play. So take your Plains Chase, for example. If you don't know what Plains Chase is, basically it's this deck of cards where you flip one over and then you're on that plane, so it affects the board state. You could roll a 1, or basically anytime you roll the Plains Chase away, for us we just use a d6, and at 1 we would Plains Chase away, so it means you go to the next plane, and 6 would mean you have chaos. So what I would recommend doing is having all 45 contraptions shuffled in the middle of the board area, and then at the beginning of the 4-player commander game that you're playing in, just flip over the first one and then have that affect the game state until somebody rolls a 1 to move away from there and flip up the new contraption. And then also I would have it so where, like, if you roll a 6, you can do chaos, which means that you can do the ability of the contraption again. That's essentially what you do in Plains Chase, and you could just have it so where your 45 contraptions deck is the Plains Chase deck, and it helps change up commander a little bit. The next thing you could do to get the most out of your contraptions is to play an arch enemy style, where you have one of the players play with the contraptions, and they have all 45, and once each of their turn they can assemble one and put it on any sprocket and just play like that, where 2 or 3 people try to play against one person using the assistance of a contraptions deck. The next idea that I have for contraptions is you could use all 45 contraptions, separate them by their rarity, so common, uncommon, rare, and mythic, and replace them with the tiles that come in the Explorers of Ixalan. So you could just use commons as your 1s and place them in a circle, and then your uncommons as your 3s and place them in a circle, and then your rares as your 6s. And then in the dead center I would use a random shuffle up random mythic rare and place that in the center, and I would just have that cost 6 or 9 or whatever you want to do. But basically it would work the same way as Explorers, where you pay 1 to get the outer rims, and then you could reserve another one that you need, and you just flip it over, and then you just have that effect on whatever sprocket you want. The next thing that you could do is you could add the contraptions to the Horde deck. So Horde is a format where you have zombies or goblins or slivers, and you have a whole deck that a bunch of people are fighting against. So kind of like Arch Enemy, but nobody plays the Horde deck. The Horde deck just plays itself, and you could add the contraptions as an additional to that Horde deck, and then just make the most effective decisions for the Horde deck whenever decisions are needed to be made. Okay, next up, I would add contraptions to other formats. So try drafting, like when you do your normal drafts, like maybe you're doing a cube draft or you're just like drafting Ixalan or something like that, and then take these 45 um, contraption cards and then just draft them after you're done drafting, and then allow players to play them. And then you could just establish rules, like you have to pay a certain amount of mana to assemble a contraption or anything like that, just to add them into your draft games. I would also um, suggest playing conspiracy with contraptions. So like conspiracy is what I mean by that is you could take a sealed deck or a draft deck or a standard deck, modern deck, any kind of deck, two-headed giant if you want, and instead of playing 1v1, just play three player pods, and you could do a tournament breakdown style where you have two three-player pods or three-player pods, and the winner of each pod moves on to the next round to face each other and use your contraptions in those games. And then two-headed giant, I would suggest just having it so where your team gets a set of contraptions and uses the same rules of manipulation to put those on sprockets as a collective unit. Lastly, I want to suggest factions. So um, each of the factions has a color combination that they're associated with. So the Artifacts one is white and blue, and the Labs one is white and green, and the Goblins is red and green, and the other one of them's blue and black, and then one of them's black and red. So I would just say, like, just for fun, you could take anybody that's playing the commander with their color identity, or if you just want to pick one, and take their 9 contraptions that come with the factions and have the players be able to use those during commander or multiplayer format gameplay. It could just be a fun thing to do. One last suggestion I have is if you ever play the format called Kingdom, you could have it so where the king is allowed to pick first and choose whatever set of faction cards that they want, or even draft by picking first the contraption that they want, and then all the other positions going from the king clockwise. So that's how to get the most out of your contraptions, and there are 45 in total. I've put them all together into a deck under a freeform list on mtggoldfish.com, deck number 863381. You could pick up all 45 contraptions for about $7 on TCG Player, and for $7 you can get quite a bit of value out of the contraptions and provide a good bit of variance to your 1v1, your draft, and your multiplayer formats. I especially like the idea of adding contraptions to Commander as a planes chase or even as a factions type of thing. So I hope that you got some use out of this video. If you liked it, please like the video. If you want to, share it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.